5. If there was ever a show that ever drove me up the wall, like any show that has ever hit the shores of South African reality TV, it has to be Love Never Lies South Africa. I am sick of all you niggas. What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video by your ultimate fave. Now, if you are new here today, you know exactly what to do. Click that subscribe button. And for all my returning subscribers, welcome to another video by your ultimate fave. Now, I genuinely thought I was gonna do this recap without having a drink, but I was wrong. I'm gonna go make a drink mad quick. Okay, got my drink. So today I'm just having a little bit of whiskey. I'm actually having Jameson, courtesy of Man's Not Hot. When we were celebrating Mpo's birthday on the 1st, because Mans works with Jameson, she brought us some Jameson, and I actually just remembered, guys, to be really honest with you, Jameson Select Reserve, you will always and forever be that babe. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm actually starting to enjoy Select Reserve so much that I actually opt for it over cognac. I don't know why. It's very nice. It's got a bit of like a sweet taste. I just drink it like with sparkling water. But anyway, let's get into the show. Guys, I swear to God, on my mama, there's no show that has actually had my jaw drop like this. Now, if you guys don't know what show I'm talking about Love Lives here. No. Love Never Lies South Africa. Now, Love Never Lies is a Netflix franchise that I think already exists on Netflix shores. I've never really been someone who watched Love Never Lies. I've only watched Love Island. I've only watched Love Island and Love is Blind. Those are the two that I think I've kind of been drawn towards, but I've never watched Love Never Lies, the American franchise, excuse me. But then there was this new segment that came into South Africa. It's called Love Never Lies South Africa. And now the reason that I watched it is because when I started seeing the trailer on social media, one of the things that caught my eye is that there was a particular couple that was quite popular on social media, and that was none other than Khonse and Monaka. Khonse, otherwise known as Just Daddy G on social media, and Monaka, known for being on podcasts, I think Up Close and Piano Pulse. Now, I know obviously Monaka because I've seen her clips on social media. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, shit, it's time to get it popping. I can't wait for this to drop. I had no idea the whole concept of Love Never Lies, and I was just like, you know what, this is the time to watch. They had an amazing host, Mini Kamini, and you know, they had all these couples, and I was just like, okay, cool, this looks like it's about to bang. It looks like it's gonna go up, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is just a brief kind of character breakdown where I talk through everybody, what I think of all the couples and everyone in question. Now, the first couple we're gonna talk about is definitely Khonse and Monaka, because I've mentioned them. They are both social media influencers in their own right, and I just have to say off the bat, I'm not even gonna lie, I thought they were faking it, because I'm just like, at which point did Monaka date Khonse? At which point did Monaka date Khonse? I will say this in obviously their defense, that right after the whole thing happened with the show that I was on YouTube with Just Daddy G, I didn't really talk to the whole house. Like, I actually kind of, you know, iced out everybody from that house. I think the only person that I still kind of, I wouldn't even say I kept in contact with her, but the only person that I still had on my socials was Coffee No Milk and Zile. It only happened just before Spreading Humors. So when I tell you that I had completely cut off everybody in that house, I was not kidding. Oh, and Defining. I didn't cut off anybody from Defining because nobody really did anything to me in that sense. But everybody in that house, I did not talk to. So I did not see Khonse's stuff. I did not really interact with any of his content. I know that he's quite a big YouTuber, starting all the way from King Omar days, kind of building himself, you know, doing a lot of couples content, doing a lot of, you know, like pranks and stuff like that. So I've known of Just Daddy G. I've reported on Just Daddy G on my channel. So I know exactly who Khonse is. So they were the first couple that actually struck me as like, wait, what? Because I didn't know Monaka prior to Up Close. Was it Up Close? No. I knew Monaka and I've seen her face. But where I started making the connection that, no, I've seen Monaka before, was Piano Pulse. And I'm like, no, man, I've seen this face before on another podcast. Turns out that podcast is called Up Close. So I know Monaka, and she's a very, first and foremost, that's sus. Monaka's a 10 out of 10. Monaka is a 10 out of 10, guys. Her body's perfect. She's got a belly button ring. She's got a nice body. And I even saw her on Sunday at Fellows Funhouse. And she's, guys, she's gorgeous. I don't know what it is, but I think the reason why I find Monaka so attractive is because one, she's really pretty, but two, she's well spoken. You know, I like girls who don't really just capitalize off just being pretty, sitting there, having nothing to say. She's got an opinion, she says what's on her mind, she's cool, she's down to earth, and I just kind of see a lot of myself in her. Like, the younger version of me definitely would have been a Monaka. You understand what I'm saying? So I was just like, damn, okay, wow, she's gorgeous. And obviously I know Khonse, and Khonse is also a very good looking gent in his own right. You know, never ever would have said that Khonse is not good looking. Khonse is good looking, and I think out of that whole squad, Khonse was definitely the Beyonce of his friendship group. You know what I mean? So when I found out they were dating, I was like, nah, this is definitely very scripted, because I have never come across this relationship, okay? I've seen Khonse in relationships on social media. I have never, ever seen Khonse and Monaka. At which point, but then again, when I went down the wormhole, which we'll explain towards the end of this recap, I'll explain to you how I got to understanding why Monaka was never actually a focal point throughout Khonse's, you know, career. So the next couple we're definitely going to touch on is Wilfred and Clayton. Now, Wilfred and Clayton are the two couple that are, I don't want to use the word gay, but you know, they were actually in my top favorite. I really like Wilfred and Clayton. First of all, kudos to Netflix for actually even bringing diverse couples onto the show, because you know, everybody's so used to the whole heterosexual couples, like, hey, man and woman, da 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 da. I like the fact that Netflix took the time to actually make this as diverse of a show as possible. So I loved that. Wilfred and Clayton were definitely one of my favorites, because you could really tell that they really cared about each other in the show. I don't know Wilfred and Clayton prior to the show, but they do come from Cape Town. They are a colored couple, and they're just cute, man. I really like how they interact when they're together. So those are the second couple. I'm not really going to say much on them because I don't really know much, but I do have a feeling that their relationship was quite sincere, until I bumped into stuff that I saw on social media. And then the third couple that we're going to talk about is none other than Naledi and Nigiwe. And oh my god, this is the first Naledi that actually brought down the group average, because I've never in my life met any bad Naledi. I've never in my life met any bad Naledi until you. So we've got the two ladies in the house, that would be the two lesbian couple. And I'm not sure if I remember, but I really hope I'm not getting this wrong, but I think Naledi is the polygamist of the relationship. So she's playing the more dominant kind of like, I would say male figure, but if I'm not mistaken, I think she's non-binary. Yeah, I think she's non-binary. I think Naledi is non-binary, because I remember how Nigiwe kept referring to Naledi as they throughout the course of the show. So I wouldn't obviously want to put gender roles to their relationship, but I think that Naledi in this instance was playing the more dominant role, like the more, this is what I want, kind of mimicking a male figure in their relationship, and Nigiwe obviously mimicking the more submissive, wanting to really, you know, female dominated figure in the relationship. Although I really don't want to obviously put the gender roles in there, because they are not trying to live up to any gender roles. So Naledi and Nigiwe are definitely the next couple, and I'm not gonna lie, I really love Nigiwe. I really have so much love for her, and I really could not stand Naledi throughout the course of the show. I just thought, oh my god, Naledi, you're such an embarrassment to all the Naledis. Like, you have brought down the group average. Nobody would be named Naledi a star and not live up to their name. Like, it's a bit ridiculous. It's a bit ridiculous. I mean, if you wanted to live up to your name from a notoriety point of view, then by all means go ahead, but you're embarrassing us, okay? So now with their relationship, I think the issue was that Naledi wanted a polygamous relationship. So I don't know if she wanted polygamy and then was also allowing Nigiwe to have polyandry, but then she seemingly wanted something that she didn't want Nigiwe to have, which was quite confusing to say the least. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Nigiwe is open to dating men, I think. I could be wrong in this, because they did match her with a single who was male, and I found that quite strange. So I don't think she's actually, I think she's quite open and diverse, but I could be wrong about that. Anyway, the next couple we're going to touch on, who have we touched on? Naledi and Khonse, Wilfred and Clayton, Nigiwe and Naledi, wait, whoa. Monaka and Khonse, Wilfred and Clayton, Naledi and Nigiwe, and the next is Pretty and Sia. I'm not lie, guys. I can't stand Pretty. Never in my life have I been so horrified at seeing how Pretty belittled Sia on national television. And she still even went as far as doubling down at the reunion. I was just like, you know what, I've had enough of her, get her off my screen. I can live without never seeing Pretty again. Like, even her laugh, which was cute in the first episode, started becoming irritating in the last episode. Like, I wanted absolutely nothing to do with Pretty ever again. And I mean that from a very honest and very loving place. No, absolutely not. I don't want to see you ever again. Like, I just don't want to see you. Like, Pretty, I don't want to see you. Because everything that you did was so abusive. Like, everything that you said and did towards Sia was probably the most abusive. And I genuinely hope that as much as you try to convince yourself that you weren't, that it haunts you for the rest of your life. Because everything that you've done right now is expose how you treat Sia and why Sia should find somebody else. I'm being so serious. Like, Sia deserves somebody else. And I genuinely hope between now and moving forward, by some strange miracle, Sia deserves somebody who thinks the world of him, not the person that he's with. And I stand by their 10 toes down. Sia deserves somebody so much better. Someone who would do so much more on and who worships the ground that he walks on. Because that's not Pretty at all. Pretty does not value or love Sia at all. I'm sorry. Like, she's made it very clear that Sia is nothing but a safety net for her. Sia is someone who loves her more than she loves him. She's definitely kind of she's made me dislike women. Like, guys, I've never had so much disdain for someone I've never met. No, I've had. Girl, you right? No, I have had disdain for people in the past, but Pretty definitely is at the top of the food chain for the people that really pissed me off this time. But anyway, that's fine. So we have Pretty and Sia, and then the next couple that we have is definitely Bohale and Nancy. Woo! Nancy, my girl! Now, these couples that I've just mentioned, Sia and Pretty and Nancy and Bohale, these have to be two of the most destructive couples that I've ever seen on a reality show in South Africa. So destructive. Bohale is a walking narcissistic rat. Like, yo! And the fact that Nancy just sits and takes it is so saddening. Like, it's I don't even know if it's an insecurity thing or it's just a plain in denial thing, but whatever it is so sad to watch. It is so sad to watch. Now, I'm not one who's gonna give my 2 cents on people's relationships and how they operate, but I am giving my 2 cents on how this show has portrayed the status of your relationships, okay? How your relationships have been portrayed. So this is not really a gun for your character as a person, but this is more so an outlook on the red flags that are existing nonetheless. It's almost like, you know what I feel when I think about Nancy? I feel like, you know, when you want to stay with someone because you truly love them but they don't value you the same, and you don't want someone else, for example like Mia, to have the last laugh that I slept with your man. This was a clear indication that Bohale doesn't respect Nancy in any way, shape or form. But then she didn't want to be the one that said, yeah, she had him. You know, she wanted to be the one that said, he stayed with me, he chose me at the end of the day, and I'm choosing him. That is so sad, Nancy. Yo. I need my ladies to know when to walk away. I need my girls to know when to walk away. And then the next couple that I'm going to talk about is, who am I missing? I wrote it down in a book. Oh, I think the last couple was Cuda and Lynn. Yes. The last couple is Cuda and Lynn, and I think they are the couple that has been dating the longest on the show. They were together for 7 years. And I don't necessarily know what the issue was when they walked into the house, because they were the couple that I had my least focus on. But towards the kind of the show and how it played out, it seems like I understood both sides of the story. Cuda was the one who wasn't serious, wasn't ready to be serious with Lynn, you know, kept taking Lynn for a ride, cheated on Lynn, and, you know, Lynn has been harboring that anger ever since, feeling like, you know what, is this time wasted? And I think throughout the course of the show, I got to see that maybe Lynn didn't want to be in this anymore, and that's fair. But I'm not even finna cap, like, they were my least favorite couple. And I also don't kind of like how Lynn is also quite condescending towards Cuda. I don't know if you guys have picked that up. Lynn is also quite condescending. You know, guys, the ladies are condescending. The ladies are condescending. I think the only lady there who had some form of decorum is Nigiwe. And that's probably because Nigiwe is very well spoken. Nigiwe is quite well spoken. Nigiwe is someone you could have a very well thought out conversation with. Nigiwe is someone who's quite self-aware. And Nigiwe is someone who can actually, you know, kind of process their thoughts into words that make sense. The rest is just spit fire. No, relax, dude. Okay, so throughout the course of the show, essentially the premise of the show, what happens is that these couples come into a house, and immediately after they come into a house, they are coming here to see if their love can stand the test of time and if love never lies. They go through a series of questions and they go through an eye detector test, which is called eye detect. And this eye detect basically helps them reveal how they truly feel about each other and the status of their relationships. And another element that comes into play is that they get split. So one house is called House Umjolo and House Umgowo. And in the House Umjolo, the 6 couples, how they split, I don't know if they split them according to whatever the case may be, who brought who onto the show, but they split them. And then they split 6 into House Umjolo, split 6 into House Umgowo. House Umjolo is when they then welcome the singles, and then House Umgowo is where they sit and just kind of, you know, really process their feelings, and then they kind of swap everybody around. Essentially, to be really honest, the first group of people that got House Umjolo and were given the opportunity to kind of mess around and stuff like that, I think are those who were heartbroken, I would like to assume. No, but they did mix them up, because I remember on House Umjolo, you had Monaka, you had Lynn, but you also had Naledi, you had Bohale. So you also had the criminals. They just kind of mixed them up in a group. And that first group of people, they were the ones who definitely took it up a notch, okay? First of all, Mia came into the house, and Bohale decided that, you know what, I'm actually going to smash Mia. Smash Mia. Yeah. In the first week of House of Umjolo, where they brought in the singles, of which the singles would then have been, you know, the Congolese guy who came with Monaka, Imogen or Imojel who came for Naledi, Mia who came for Bohale, Bizo who came for Lynn, and Simo who came for Clayton, I think. Clayton, yeah. And who am I missing? Here? Oh, Malay, who came for Sia. Now, that house, that first week is where people were really busy. People busy, dude. But I think, look, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of liked the matches, except the match with Naledi and I think it was Emogel or Imogen. I really hope I'm not butchering your name, and I'm so sorry if I am. I think that match was quite meh. Like, I feel like Naledi was really just playing it safe, which was good, even though Naledi was saying a couple of things and, you know, was acting a certain way, but Naledi really played it safe. Monaka also quite played it safe. I think the people who really risked it all are Bohale and Sia. And Sia, I wouldn't even say he risked it all. It was actually Bohale who went all the way. Now, throughout that week, Mia came and they brought these singles in who were also looking for love, and you could obviously tell that when Bohale came into the house, one of the issues that Nancy mentioned is that Bohale doesn't want to have sex with her. And what does Bohale go and do? Bohale goes and has the sex of his life. Bohale goes and gets smashed. Bohale says, yay, I want to take it to the top. Bohale says, I want to sleep with you, open you, bend you up, down, put it in your mouth, put it on the side. You know, for me, the first red flag was that, Nancy, did you honestly think? Nancy, did you honestly think? That English alone from Bohale was already telling me that Bohale is a shit talker. And I think, Nancy, you either have a really low esteem or something to even think that men like bums, dude. There is no man who will date you, Nje. And like, men won't date you if they don't have a physical attraction to you. I'm so sorry, but that's the truth. You should be so concerned if you are not physically attracted to your partner, because that's grounds for cheating. And now what scares me is that, Nancy, if you've been fighting for intimacy for so long, how many other people has Bohale been intimate with that you, unbeknownst to you, before coming to the show, of which he went on a national show and actively cheated on you, not once, not twice, but multiple times, as per judging by the reunion, of which he still then went and lied throughout the course of the show and said, no, it only happened once. That's someone who's good at lying. That's someone who's perfected lying. That's someone who plays on your insecurities. That's someone who plays on your feelings for him. That's someone who knows that irrespective, you're not going to find out you're not deserving of the truth. I don't even rate you like that. For me, what was shocking is that he went all the way one without protection. You should have known that when it gets to people having sex, there's a lot of things that need to happen. Foreplay, chemistry, sparks, kissing, this, that. I'm not gonna just throw my ass at a stranger. I need to know that that stranger's feeling me. And yes, we got like cutaways and a little bit of that stuff, but you should have known from the onset that when he said once, that was some bullshit. That was bullshit. Like, that was a lie. And then Nancy sat at the reunion and said, I'd give him a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being that we broke up, we're not gonna make it, and 10 being we're gonna get married, we're gonna have kids. Where do you fall on the scale? Nancy said 9. I don't know, man. I think I do have a lot of sympathy towards Nancy, because I feel like, you know what, it's not her I blame completely. Dating a narcissist and dating a serial cheater, and I will label Bohale that with my chest, because if you could do that on national TV with a complete stranger, put his ding-a-ling in a complete stranger's body, there are so many other things that he could do. He did that and he risked it all. He could have infected Nancy. There's so many things. This is why I firmly believe that he's done it multiple times, making it serial cheater. The thing about it is, when you've dated a serial cheater who convinces you that you're crazy and that they love you and that all of this, you really start to live in a bubble where you believe it, or you start to live in a bubble where you convince yourself, your mind, the brain starts working yourself into believing that everybody wants my partner and my partner would never do that, and you know, they want to be with him for this, that, and the other. Now, don't get me wrong, Bohale is a very good looking guy and he's very well spoken. He could get any girl, Tom, Dick, and Harry. Man, for fuck's sakes, if I had met Bohale and he started like chatting me up, I might be inclined to listen to him, judging by the way that he speaks. But right after seeing the reunion, I could tell that slow speaking is some. But I really feel sorry for Nancy in this instance. I do feel like she's trapped in a relationship where there is a whole lot of mind games that are being played here. There is a whole lot of playing on her feelings. There is a whole lot of self-esteem issues. And I could be wrong for saying that. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to reward you for being a strong woman. No strong woman has ever, like, there's nothing to reward. There's nothing to reward. No strong woman has a good story to tell. There is nothing glamorous about being a strong woman. If anything, it's just a 2-pack of ass. Ask me, I've been one. Then also in the house, another person that obviously kind of tested the waters is none other than Sia with Mallela. But Sia really didn't do anything, guys. I think Mallela was a breath of fresh air for me, because Pretty from episode 1 was saying how Sia's not her type. She goes for hot boys, tall, dark, handsome, muscles, money, this, that, and the third. And you know what, Pretty? You know what, girl? You know what? I really am dying to see what your exes look like, because you have a really high standard, okay? And I really want to see if you're really on that tea. Because the way you're speaking, okay, you settled for Sia, I'm dying to see what your ex looks like. The way you speak on Sia, and then the way you became so offended and started crying when a pretty girl actually was interested in Sia. I'm not gonna lie, those tears kind of made me cackle. Like, I really wanted to feel bad for you, but I don't. Like, even like when you started going, I was like, mopete. Osala otola. Even I was hoping throughout this challenge that Sia would actually wake up and realize that, no, man, First of all, Sia is a good-looking gent. And the thing that I love about Sia is that Sia is sincere. Like, you can tell, like, I would even go and date Sia because you can tell how rata. And for you to even have the nerve to say multiple times, to have a whole meltdown in the mirror about, yeah, look at you now. Girl, if you don't shut up, we don't care. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Sia, if you're watching this or if you ever come across this, you deserve 10 times better. Even if you say, you deserve 10 times better. Even if just remember that you are a good-looking gent in your own right, and you can get a pretty-looking girl. Pretty, you. I want to see your exes. You better be about that business, because the way it made me cringe. I was like, this is the thing about dating people that you think are beneath you. This is the thing about dating for your insecurity, or dating because you think this person won't cheat on you. When you realize that this person actually can get someone who's somewhat deemed better than you. And also, here's another thing that I hated. When Pretty saw that Sia was being attracted by Malay, she still even had the nerve to go, yeah, he's not going to be able to handle a slay queen and this and that. And I was just like, you know what, man? Pretty, I don't know what's going on with you, but I just don't think you and Sia are a good fit, because you really think so low of him. You genuinely think so low of him. You think that he's incapable of getting anybody who's deemed better than you. It's just so unfortunate, and I really hope for your sake you change, because judging by the reunion, you guys got a house together, you're living together, which is perfectly fine. But I'm just sorry, like, I just feel like if it's something that's meant to be, then okay, let it be. But if I could have it my way and choose someone, I just don't think Pretty is the right fit for Sia. I think Sia deserves to be treated like a man and deserves not to be emasculated. And throughout this whole season, Sia was emasculated so much that my heart even broke for him. My heart broke for him. And that's why I didn't feel any sort of remorse towards Pretty at all. However, she did make a point which I feel like she's using that as a way to gaslight, you know, everybody else in the house. But she didn't have a point where they said that Pretty emasculates Sia and this and the third, which is fair. But then they were trying to convince Sia that Pretty's not good enough for him. But then when Sia was doing, what is that? There is a bit of a double standard. I had to switch on my aircon because it's getting warm in here, and I don't know if it's the whiskey. Pretty did have a point at the reunion when she said that there was a bit of a double standard because people weren't warning Sia of his bad behavior. But at the end of the day, Sia was also there because everybody didn't blame Sia or bam khalemele, because Sia was already being ill-treated by you. And it was nice to kind of see Sia in that space, but I understand Pretty's points of view. But honestly, your point of view is null and void to me. If I was also in the house and I was Sia's friend, I would let Sia have that fun. I'm sorry, Sia, you want to impregnate Malay? Go ahead. Go ahead. You are one of the very few deserving niggas in that house who actually should be with someone who doesn't make you feel small. Seeing Pretty double down really just kind of cemented my disdain towards her. But I guess, you know, that's a relationship, that's a toxic method that works for her and Sia. And I emphasize toxic because I don't believe that that's healthy in any way, shape, or form. And that's okay. Everybody has their vices. Everybody has, you know, their kryptonite. And it just so happens that Pretty is Sia's kryptonite. Sia loves that girl, and it's okay. We cannot fault him. We cannot judge him. And then Wilfred and Clayton, I don't know. I do think that they care about each other, but I just don't know how sincere that relationship was, because one of the singles that came in for Clayton was Seymour. And I know I've seen Seymour before because he's a TikToker. I'm like, oh my God, I've seen this guy. And him and Clayton had a thing, but now here's where the tea really got hot. It turns out that Clayton and Seymour had actually known each other and had actually been in each other's DMs prior to the show. So do I believe that Clayton and Sia cut things off, or they just kind of liked each other before the show and they were flirting? Probably. And do I believe that Clayton blocked Seymour? Probably not. I don't actually believe it. But now here's the other kicker of it all. After the reunion played out and when Clayton said he blocked Seymour, I just saw a tweet of a screenshot of a TikTok where Wilfred was doing a dance with Seymour and Clayton was saying something like sister wife. Which then begs me to ask the question, which of these relationships in the show was actually sincere? I mean, Nancy and Bohale is obviously sincere. Nancy's putting herself through the ringer. Did you guys see how she looked at me at the reunion when she sat down? Nancy, also, did you guys see how Nancy looked at me when she sat down? I'm like, if I were you, ngazitoba, because lo muntu lo ngibheke as umuntu that made your nigga like call out Latin words in the Bible. Something you haven't done in the 3 weeks that you were there. But essentially, I think the only relationship that really enjoyed trials and tribulations, in my opinion, would be Pretty and Sia and Nancy and Bohale. Oh, and Lynn and Cuda probably, but like I said, Lynn and Cuda were the one couple that I feel like I was the least interested in them. First and foremost, Lynn is gorgeous. Lynn is pretty. Lynn is so pretty. Lynn is also well-spoken. Everybody on the show is actually so well-spoken. I think I just love that so much. Everybody on the show is so well-spoken. I love that. You know, I love how people are able to really get their points across without feeling like there's a language barrier or anything of that nature. I love the fact that when people got upset, they could use their home language like Nancy. Nancy, when she was pissed, the Xhosa woman in her came out. So with Cuda and Lynn have been together for 7 years, but it looks like Cuda cheated or he didn't want to maintain anything stable. And throughout the course of the show, they brought in Bizo, who was Cuda's roommate, who Lynn apparently had a crush on. And at the reunion, why the hell was Lynn blushing when Bizo walked in? She was giggling. She was smitten. She was what the no. Wait. No. Wait, Lynn, what are you doing? What are you doing? You went on 2 dates with this nigga. 2! And you're already cackling and giggling and smiggling, and I just think Lynn was doing that to get back at Cuda. I don't think there was anything that was going on between her and Bizo, to be really, really honest with you. I think Lynn was just doing that to get under Cuda's skin. I think she had been mad at Cuda for the longest time. She had harbored a lot of resentment and a lot of anger towards Cuda for Cuda's inability to really just show up, not as a partner but as a man. And I do feel like Lynn is also one of the characters that I feel inhabited a lot of condescending tones towards Cuda. She also quite, not in everything that she said, but in how she spoke about him, I would say emasculated him a little bit. But that's you know, I mean, we could like it could be subjective, but I just felt like there were hints of mean tones when it came to how Lynn spoke about Cuda. Also at the reunion, what she did was also quite condescending to me, also borderline emasculating, doing that over my friend who I lived with. I mean, you don't have to, you know, take that dig at me like that, but hence why I'm saying that. Probably Lynn harbored so much resentment to everything that Cuda did, and also Cuda having the thing with Star. You see, this is why I really believe that Lynn and Pretty are not far apart from one another. They're the same thing, just like completely different, like apples and pears. No. Apples and oranges. No. Apples and apples. Green apples and red apples. It's the same thing. It's just clothed differently. Let me tell you why. Because when Star came onto the show and Cuda was like, hey, can I cuddle? And Star was like, no. And hey, you know? Cuda was like, imagine being rejected on television, national television, da 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 da. And it's kind of like, imagine if Star had given him ass. Imagine. That shit would have hurt you. That shit would have tore you apart. Imagine the things Lynn would have said if Star had actually slept with Cuda. The thing about it is, the way that she was trying to say, yeah, imagine getting rejected on national television, da 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 da. I thought you came here to figure out if your relationship is still something worth fighting for or not. You're sitting here basically fist pumping off the fact that your man got rejected on national television. Yes, it's national television. Maybe Star did the right thing, but at the end of the day, you were trying to belittle Cuda and trying to humiliate him by saying he was rejected, of which he definitely was, and it could have been humiliating, but that was what was shown on camera. Mia made it very clear that they were off-camera moments. And those are the moments you will never know from this point on, because Star didn't come onto the reunion and say, actually, I did kiss your nigga quite a couple of times. And that shit would have definitely changed the things that were coming out of your mouth, Lynn. Like, you're pretty, but some of the things that you say, girl, you gotta really chill. You gotta chill. You can't, it's like kettle meat pot. You can't look at Pretty and say she was emasculating Sia and then completely forget all the shit that she was saying about Cuda. But you are just the same. You're not worse, but you're the same. You're not worse though, but you're the same. You're still pretty, still gorgeous, still love you. But you were also a bit on the emasculating side, you're a bit on the condescending side, you're a bit on the, oh, look at that loser that can't get ass. He cheated on you, he can get ass. Baby, don't ever think a nigga can't do it because he can. Bohale was the only one who was just willing to risk it all, thinking he was gonna win the money by being completely honest with himself. And jokes on you, you walked away with nothing but Nancy. And Nancy, ugh, my baby. You all make me sick, like all of you. Khonse and Monaka, to be really honest, did I really believe you guys? Not really. Not really, no. Up until a point where Monaka did an Instagram live, which I then found on YouTube when I was still trying to go down the wormhole of, did they really date? And in this Instagram live, which I'll probably put a screenshot somewhere right here, she mentions how she had a crush on Khonse for the longest time, since she was like 18 or 19. And then her and Khonse met up at a concert when she was 20. She was with her man, but they vibed. And then a couple of months later, they linked up. Yes, I watched the whole thing. They linked up, they went on a date, but then it just fizzled out. And then something along the lines of Khonse going for a friend after that. And then I don't know what then happened. She then got into another relationship. That relationship fell through. And then a couple of months later, or maybe like a year later, after that relationship fell through, she was singing something on her TV. And then Khonse commented, something keeps pulling me back, telling me I need you in my life, or something like that. And then after that, Khonse was like, let me eat the friend first, come back for Monaka. Monaka was like, okay, let's try it. And then after that, Khonse cheated. And then, man. It's a lot. But then there was some validity to a story, because she was like, no, on YouTube, there is an instance where she was on Khonse's YouTube channel for whatever the case may be. So maybe they did date. Maybe you understand? They obviously won the challenge, which do I think is well deserved? Well, I mean, if the premise of the show is to see who lies the least, then yeah, they lied the least and they won. They won the money, which is great. But I do believe that, Monaka, you were in this all alone. Girl, you were all alone. Girl, are you sure? But hey, man, hey, have you cheated on Monaka? Hey. The thing about it is, for me, they are such a cute couple. Like, they are so cute together. Like, I'm not even gonna cap. I like Khonse and Monaka together. I really, really do. And for some strange, very psychotic reason, I hope they find their way back to each other, because they are so cute together. Like, they're such a cute little couple together. But then I'm just also just like, man, nah, Monaka deserves better. Get out of there. Get the bag. Get the head, get the bread, and leave. You got the head, you got the bread, now leave. Do as the Romans do. The Romans don't get the head, get the bread, and leave, do they? But if they did, then you got the head, you got the bread, and you left, mama. Which is good. Which is gold. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think they won, obviously, rightfully so, judging by how the show went, the premise of the show, telling the truth. They actually did exactly that. They told the truth, they rarely ever lied, and they won the money. And yeah, they were in the top two of my favorite couples. I really like them. I really like Wilfred and Clayton. I kind of like everybody the same. But I think, what would I rate this show out of 10? I'm definitely gonna have to give it a solid 11. solid 11. But comment down below, give me your thoughts, let me know what you thought of the show. Is there anything that I missed? Do you think that there are certain elements? Do you agree with how I feel about the characters? Do you think differently? Comment down below, let me know. But until then, I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys on the next video right here on Vlogmas.